Guys, we have some really big, huge news for you right now. Tommy is behind the camera, and right here, Ram is introducing their production version of their Ram 1500 electric pickup.
That's right. So we've seen the concept version. We've done several videos about it, but we've got our first look at the production version. And Andre, is it going to look like the concept?
No, but before I show you the picture, they also announced a new name. So this was hidden in plain sight because their concept had this on it. REV. They're going to call it Ram 1500 REV. I'm assuming that means revolution or also Ram electric.
Yeah. Well, I initially thought REV stood for range extender, but it doesn't appear that it does. We think it's maybe Ram EV.
We can talk about it a little bit later in this video because I asked the CEO of Ram North America, Mike Koval, about range extending, and I'll tell you what he said.
All right, Andre, let's show him what the production version of this truck is going to look like.
Bam!
There it is.
So this is official image from Ram, and it's kind of a surprise. What do you think?
Well, I think to understand why it's a surprise, you first have to look at the concept. Can we put those two side by side, Andre?
Yeah, let me...
Now, this concept came out at CES, and you were there to see it. You were hands-on with that truck, right? You crawled in and out of it. It had a bunch of super revolutionary features that we'll talk about, and we're going to kind of dive into this video, find out whether or not some of those features actually made it into production. But let's see if we can see a front 3/4 of what this truck looks like. All right, so there's the concept.
There's the concept.
And there's the production.
So you can kind of see them right here. Concept, production. So the light signature remains for the most part. But look at this, dude. What appears they've done, at least in these initial images that they we also have the rear of the truck. It looks like they have the standard current cab that's available right now on the Ram 1500 internal combustion trucks. And but they have a new front end, obviously, new chassis underneath it, because look at this, new wheel design, and also 8 lugs on a light-duty truck.
So I like the look of this truck, but the concept was so bold, and the production one just isn't as bold. It kind of reminds me of when you go to like a fast food restaurant, and the brochure has that picture-perfect hamburger that's all shiny and glistening, and then you see the actual one, and it doesn't quite live up to the concept. Yeah. I mean, look at for example, the way the belt line folds on this truck, right?
Yeah.
The thin mirrors, you got the marker lights with these really angular LEDs, and then if you go to the production one, it's just all a little bit more spongy. But going beyond that, it still is an attractive design. Andre, you pointed out that the cab looks identical to the current 1500. Can we pull up a picture of the current 1500?
Yeah, let me grab that right now for you.
So you can see that the way the roof line kind of meets up with the windshield, the way the door handles are incorporated.
And also the separation between the bed and the cab, right?
We weren't sure whether or not the production one was going to have that separation or if it would be more like a Ridgeline or a Silverado EV, but based on these production pictures, you can see that separation's still there.
Yeah, it looks like, if you squint it for a moment, this looks like the current truck, right?
It does, yeah.
So even the Ram box in the back. And of course, you can see the cut line on the new hood, and you can see where it kind of goes around. So this is a frunk. So yes, so it looks like the frunk, of course, will survive in the production truck, but will four-wheel steering survive? It's not clear. Will air suspension survive? Well, this image doesn't show that. It doesn't show different heights.
It looks like we have a retractable running board.
Yes.
Right down here along the rocker panel, and you can see that the charge port is located there on the front left fender.
You know what this looks like? This looks like a lot how Ford approached their Lightning, their F-150 electric truck. We've owned one for about 4 months in 2022, and see in the Lightning, the charging door is also right there on the driver's side by the front wheel, and it looks traditional, right? It doesn't look like it's out of this world futuristic stuff. It looks fairly traditional.
Well, Ford also used basically the same cab from the gas truck.
Yeah.
Very similar bed to the gas truck, right? So a lot of similarities with the Ram. One thing I'm not liking about the Ram, though, from this initial picture is the Ford has integrated tow hooks in the front.
Yeah.
This one doesn't look like we have any kind of tow hooks in the front.
Ouch! It does have It might have a retractable chin spoiler, which
Yep.
a lot of current trucks do for aerodynamics, because of course aerodynamics is very important for efficiency and range.
Now we don't know what trim this truck is, right? We don't know if it's
Like a premium one
a
or not.
limited, but it does look very street oriented. The way the front fascia is designed with these air intakes, you got the sensors in the front there, right? It's all very low hanging. It looks very sporty, but it doesn't look super aggressive, ready to tackle a trail.
No, let's look at the back of this. What does this look like to you?
Well, I see a lot of lightning in the way that these bars integrate into the tailgate.
Yeah, in the Ford Lightning, it actually, the LED strip goes all the way across, right? So this is not quite what they showed us with the concept. Let's take a quick look at the rear of the concept truck really quick. This is tfltruck.com once again. And the concept also had suicide doors, and the production truck does not have suicide doors.
There's the rear.
So that's the rear of the concept. It had kind of the Ram spelled out in lights, and it was also a barn-style tailgate and also a folding tailgate.
Yep, let's compare that to what the production one's going to look like.
Bam! Really more traditional.
More traditional, yeah. It looks like the Ram is not illuminated. I do like the new Ram logo. I think that looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It looks really, really good. Bumper has
Looks
kind
traditional.
of these cutouts. Yeah, pretty traditional bumper. You can see we have hookups. Now this is interesting. For a 4 and a 7 pin.
And it looks like some other hookups, maybe for cameras, for trailering, maybe something else.
Well, I wonder if those are power outlets. They could be
Well, on the concept, they showed power outlets inside the bed.
inside the
Very
bed.
similar to what Ford has done. The way I'm saying, because it could be trailer cameras or maybe trailer tire pressure monitors, is because I've seen this before on some of their other vehicles.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes?
Let's go ahead. I'm going to just brighten the heck out of this really quick.
Okay.
What are these two little circles that look like exhaust tips? What are those? Do you see those?
Yeah. I don't think those are exhaust ports at all. It's supposed to have independent rear suspension. We can't quite see it in this image.
Potentially a spare there.
And well, that's a hitch.
Definitely a hitch, yeah.
So it's hard to see in this image, even though we've brightened. Let me brighten it further. Hold on a second.
Brighten the beans out of it, Andre.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell.
yeah.
Kind of a chunky tire. Looks like it's running on a Goodyear tire. And you mentioned the Ram boxes, integrated tonneau cover, but the window is something to talk about.
Oof. So the concept had a midgate, right? Very similar to Silverado EV and GMC Sierra EV. But this looks traditional, dude. This looks like a small sliding rear glass. The way it integrates into the cab and also the back Chimzo light, it's called, looks very traditional. And also the antenna, of course, on the top of it. So this does not appear like it has a midgate.
Other things worth noting, aero design on the wheels. So you got the small spokes, but then you have these aero covers to kind of incorporate a more aerodynamic design there, make it more slippery through the air. And yeah, I mean, I think that this design is going to attract a lot of folks that wanted more of a conventional pickup look, and maybe put some folks off that wanted that crazy futuristic design.
Yeah, and we also have, at the very end of this video, we'll let you know when this goes into production and sale.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because they also announced this.
Now we still don't know a lot of things, right? We don't know the production horsepower, the production range, the production battery.
Charging speeds.
Charging
but
speeds.
at CES, so I was there with Roman in Las Vegas at Consumer Electronics Show this year. And they talked about like next generation battery technologies. So what does that mean? They were promising, like, actually in their original materials from about 2 years ago in the Stellantis EV Day, if you remember that, they were mentioning something about 500 miles of range in their truck, which is a huge number because currently the Lightning is rated at 320 miles of total range for the extended range battery. And several versions of the Rivian are between 289 and also like 314 miles of range. So in order for them to get 500 miles of range, they need a huge battery, which could be very heavy. But because it will go on sale a little later.
Oh yeah, look at that. Q4 2024.
Yeah, so this is still a year and a half plus away. What do you think? Can they get some next chemistry in their batteries in order to get more energy density and actually maybe get that 500 miles of range?
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not so sure. Now, you did speak to the CEO, Mike
Yes.
Koval, about possible range extenders, plug-in hybrid versions. What did he say?
Yes, he couldn't announce anything. You know, a lot of CEOs, they keep all their cards close to their vest,
Right.
very close to their chest. But what he did say is they were looking at the whole gamut of technologies. At CES, they also talked about hydrogen fuel cell for heavy vehicles and heavy trucks. This is a pure BEV.
BEV, battery electric vehicle. Yes. REV, we don't really know, but RAM electric vehicle.
Yes, RAM electric vehicle. It's a pure BEV, which means battery electric vehicle, which means at this current stage, they haven't announced a range extender. But Mike Koval told me they're looking at all technologies because they want to satisfy the traditional pickup truck customer who may tow, they want to go long range and do all those things.
So we're looking at some other interesting info. Now this is rev.com, rev.com. You're actually able to reserve your spot, and you went through that process. What was that like?
Yeah, so it's $100 basically payment. It doesn't quite guarantee a truck at this point, but what it does guarantee you is you'll be able to, they call it an insider. You get early access to pre-order your particular configuration of the 1500 REV. Also exclusive invitations to events and news and information about electric trucks. So I did that. It was super simple. It was a credit card button that you push, super easy. So I'm in line for TFL Studios. Whenever this comes out, we should be one of the first ones to get it.
All right, well, let's kind of close on that last picture, Andre.
Well, there's more.
There's more.
There's more because the big game is today, Tommy.
Oh, yeah, the big football game.
Yeah, the big game, the Super Bowl. So all the other manufacturers, or most of them, have something for the game. General Motors has a commercial about their Trail Boss Silverado electric truck. And Ram will also have a commercial during the big game. So stay tuned. They may tease something extra, maybe interior images, maybe some other information about the upcoming truck. So stay tuned for that. Of course, we don't have pricing, so we don't know exactly how much it's going to cost.
Or towing capacity.
Not payload, nothing.
Right.
We know no numbers.
Just what it looks like.
So that's the news, dude.
Sweet. Well, pretty interesting that they're going more the Ford route than Chevrolet with this crazy, unibody, unicab design.
Yeah.
So I think it's an interesting approach. I'm not 100% sold on the styling yet, but of course we have to see it in person out of the computer. It could be very, very cool. I like a lot about it. I'm on the fence about some of it. But let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
And of course, check out alltfl.com and tflbids.com, which is our auction site where you can find some affordable, cool vehicles.
Yeah, I got some really cool things over at TFL Bids. Thanks, Andre.